Ah, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, like this is like, I'd live in up there.
Yeah.
So they got another meeting
It
after
reminds me, there's another place.
Right. The chambers are being used, yeah.
Something you could read.
We must rate.
And then
I thought you
there's a
had
clothing
Scott.
store. And then upstairs they have condos. Reason back
I'm just too creative.
Are you calling me to go?
Yeah, yes,
your
your political
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't have to.
No, on the other side, it's our south side.
Yeah, isn't that the-
Yeah, I think they have
Houses have done anything.
the old school, you know, and that lived upstairs and lived downstairs.
He's got, where's that car wash gonna be from the car dealership?
Maybe 3/4 mile.
Is it,
Never
is
exactly.
it around? Towards the casino?
What, the existing car dealership?
Yeah,
Mills?
yeah.
It's south of, it's south of.
Oh, it is, okay.
You know where that, access road is to the.
Oh, yeah, okay. What time do you got, Scott?
It's after.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Well, everybody ready to go? We'll get this over with. I would like to welcome everyone here today and our viewing audits to the 3/5 special meeting of the City of Davenport Zoning Board of Adjustment. Your participation in city government is appreciated and welcome. If you have a mobile device, please turn it off as it may interfere with the room's electronics. My name is Jim Reistroffer, Chairman. To my left is Mr. Thomas Quinn. To my immediate left is Lynn Cochran. To my far right is Angela Lombach. And to my immediate right is Carrie Strayhall, the Vice Chair. Staff present is Scott Copes. The Zoning Board of Adjustment is a 5-member judiciary board established by state law. We are appointed by the mayor, confirmed by the city council, to serve without compensation for a 5-year term. The board meets twice a month to hear appeals involving hardship from strict application of current zoning laws. We also grant special uses and rules on administrative appeals. Is there any corrections to the meeting from minutes from the last meeting?
We don't have any minutes.
Okay. We don't have to. Okay. Any old business that we need to discuss, Scott? Okay. New business. Case SU 20-01, request of Dr. Bradley Burke for a special use approval in order to construct a car wash at 6110 Elmore Avenue within the C/E EMA Corridors zoning district. Is the applicant here?
I am.
Present, okay. Staff, give your
Yeah,
report.
Scott Copes, Community Planning. So this zoning district, CE Elmore Corners, is a little bit different than most of our zoning districts. It has a master plan associated with it. And in addition to that, the design review board also looks at developments in that area. And they already have looked at this site. They have, modified the plans. I think some were in discussion with the board. They've made their plans meet the requirements of the design review board, and so they've already approved. The site master plan is shown on that first page bottom slide, and it just kind of shows you that they're kind of in that corner there where the arrow is. And the other part of that slide isn't quite accurate, but there's going to be like kind of a loop road that would come off of Elmore, turn to the north, and then connect back to Elmore, maybe a little bit further north than what's shown on here. And their development would be just to the south of that, the southern point of the loop road. The second page, top slide, kind of shows you the building elevations in a 3D format. You can note there's a second story on there, because second story is required in this area. So there's 5 office spaces above there. The layout is right below in that other slide. And then on page 3, we just have some color renderings of the elevations. And then finally, kind of the site layout. And then one thing about the last two site layout pages, it shows a single story, but I did this because it's a 3D view of it, but so just imagine there would be 2 stories there, because it's going to be a 2-story. We did send out notices to all the neighbors within 200 feet of the property, not this size property, but the larger property, because it hasn't been subdivided yet, so we did notify quite a bit of ways out. There's been no phone calls or comments either for or against. And so in our findings of our report, we found that they have met the requirements for a special use. The design of this matches the master plan. It's well thought out, and it's not going to be immediately adjacent to any residential districts or residential areas. So staff recommends it in favor as proposed.
Scott, is this the only business that is gonna be at this location, the car wash business?
Right now, it's the only one I know of. There are 5 office spaces on the second
Oh,
level.
there is. So then we're dealing with parking if they put,
Right,
The 5
there's, the review did review parking, and there is adequate parking
okay.
for all 5 offices to be occupied and the car wash.
You know, I always bring this question up, handicap parking.
Yes, it'll meet requirements.
Okay. How many spaces?
I don't have the exact numbers.
Okay. Okay. And they will be, I'm just looking at this picture, where would they be?
They would have to be by law near the entrance, although it can be somewhat off to the side of the entrance.
Okay, okay. Okay, that's all I got, thank you. Okay. Applicant,
Thank you.
present your case. Can you give us your name and?
Sure. I'm Brad Burt, and sitting to my right is Maggie Motto with J&M Civil Design. They are the engineers on the project. They're here for professional input if you have any specific questions regarding that I can't answer. I am happy to tell you that we have reached out to a lot of the surrounding neighborhoods and residents, and we have had their blessing on this. We have not had any objections or negative review from the neighbors, and even the neighboring business owners who may wish to speak later. We've reached out to Mills Chevrolet, and David Mills has been extremely beneficial and even went so far as to write a letter of support on our behalf to the city administrator, so we appreciate that. The DRB did approve us in 2 segments. The first segment was the land use requirement. They approved that in late January, and then 2 weeks later, in early February, they approved the overall design of the building, as Scott summarized. With regards to the special use permit, I understand there are 3 criteria to be met. The first criteria being that, number 1, the establishment, maintenance, and operation of proposed special use will not endanger the public health, safety, or welfare. And as our application reads, the proposed car wash will not endanger the public health, safety, or welfare. All work will be completed in accordance with City of Davenport and current code of ordinances and all state and federal regulatory agencies involved. Requirement number 2 is that the proposed special use is compatible with the general land use of adjacent properties and other property within the immediate vicinity. Our application reads, the proposed car wash will be located in Elmore Corners, situated to the south of the proposed access drive off of Elmore Avenue. Mills Chevrolet located to the north on Elmore Avenue, and there's an existing tire shop, Discount Tire, located to the south of our proposed car wash. And the design review board for Elmore Corners believed that a car wash was a good fit in this area. A specific comment from the DRB. Third and final requirement, the special use in the specific location is proposed is consistent with the spirit and intent of this ordinance and adopted land use policies. And again, the site layout and the building will comply with the design guidelines set forth by the Elmore Corners Master Plan, and the design review board approved that at that February meeting. So the wind is to our back, and we are happy that all momentum seems to be supporting this process forward. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Board members have any questions for Dr. Bird?
I do not.
Okay, thank you for your input.
Thank you.
And,
Appreciate your time.
is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak in favor of this petition? Yes, sir.
Hi,
Give us your name.
David Mills, and Dean Walren. He was a project manager for us when we moved up to Elmore and Veterans. We've been there 3 years, July. We bought 19 acres, did the development up there, sort of pioneered that area, and we had a good long-term vision of what we thought it would be. We were involved in the master plan for the Elmore Corners area. And we had ordinance issues also when we came to this project. There were limitations. A car dealership was prohibited with public storage. There were, as we found, a lot of oddities up there. I don't think anybody had a good vision for what it was going to finally look like. But this project, our project's worked out very well. We're meeting all of our objectives. We've had an opportunity to look at this project. While it maybe doesn't exactly fit with the master plan, there's a lot of things that we agreed with setting some guideposts and some objectives. Otherwise, you just get what you get in these projects. So have some sort of a master plan we thought made a lot of sense. This project, I think, fits up there well. We do have a car wash. It's not public. It's only for our internal purposes. The community really needs services like this up there. We're presently doing about 800 oil changes a month. So the community really is interested in vehicle care, and I think the car wash fits perfectly. Brad has shared his plans with us. He came up to meet with us and showed us the concepts. We think it's a great fit. We encourage and support. We think they'd make a good neighbor. We were a little lonely up there. We'd like to see some development come our way, and we think this is a step in the right direction. So we'd like to show our support for this project.
Commissioners, you got any questions for Mr. Mills?
I have a question for Scott or for staff.
Okay.
I mean, Scott, what is normally allowed in zoning CE?
It's a kind of a wide range of uses, and it's kind of tailored to the master plan, but similar things that you'd find in our C2 and our C3 districts, along with some of our office park uses. So retail, offices, medical, things of that nature.
What does E stand for? C is commercial, what is E?
It's Elmore Corners plan is
Oh, that's
what
what it
the
is.
E
Okay.
stands for, yeah.
You know, Mr. Mills, just a comment from me. I go by your place every day, and you light it up very well. And I think the vandalism, probably don't, you have some, but maybe not a lot. But getting back to you, is this gonna be well lighted? Because you know how car washes are with vandal. You got one right up in Walcott. Right?
In Eldridge.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it your dad that's,
It's mine.
Okay.
We own it, and my wife and I own it privately, and it is extremely well lit, and I'm
Okay.
happy to tell you that we even received a letter of support from the police chief in Eldridge, Dave
Right.
Kapatich. They love our car wash because they use our security cameras to help thwart crimes in neighboring properties. So we have had an extremely low vandalism rate at that, and they love how well lit ours is. So we intend to be the same as
Well,
Mill Chevrolet.
okay.
Mhm.
Is there any, I'll go on, is there anyone in the audience opposed to this request? Well, I guess seeing none. Applicant, do you have any final comments?
No.
Okay. More discussion? Seeing none, okay. I ask for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Is this a voice?
Roll call vote.
Okay.
Laybach,
Yes.
Strayhall,
Yes.
and Cochran,
Yes.
Quinn,
Yes.
and Rystra.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate
Good
it.
luck up there.
Thank you. We intend to make you proud.
You got a good
It's a
neighbor
nice
here.
looking building.
Yeah,
Got a
Oh,
question
it's
on
gonna-
streetlights?
yes.
We did a lot of research in lighting. We tried to accommodate our neighbors because they were worried about broadcast
Mhm.
lighting, so we really did a lot of work in lighting. But they also stepped down but they also, when there's motion, they
Come on.
kind of recover. So you kind of don't want to light up the whole neighborhood forever, but if there's motion or things going on, they sort of like ramp up. But to my question, and I don't know if it's in your purview, but we were promised streetlights. It's very dark up there. Now it's sort of spring, so and we're just coming into daylight savings, so it's better. But when it's dark at 5 o'clock coming up that street, it's very, very dark in the winter.
I can talk to Gary Stats, our traffic engineer, and see
That'd be great.
when that is scheduled to be put in and
Well,
how
we-
it comes about.
We had several meetings with them when the master planning was going on, and we were very vocal about wanting streetlights at that time.
And they kept on punting it, it's been about 3 years now, so, and we still don't have streetlights up there. I'm fat in Hartog, by the way, I don't have more storage across the street, so, Dave and I were the first pioneers to be up there, so, we are still been waiting on streetlights for a long time, so
Okay.
anything you can do to help
Sure.
us on that, you know, we wanna make this a nice area, and it's very dark, especially this winter and this fall, it was very dark up there, and, probably not as safe as it could be if we had some streetlights up
Sure.
there.
And it welcomes people, welcomes business, it would show we're open and vibrant and.
You have the walking paths and the bike paths, and there's no streetlights to go with them, so, just so you know.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
comments.
Anyway, we need lights.
I think it's well lit up there.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Our next case is case HD 20-03, request of Vera French Manor for hardship variance to reduce the required number of parking spaces from 1.5 parking spaces per unit to 1.1 parking spaces per unit. Staff?
Scott Copes, Community Planning. This project is part of a larger and existing site, and that site is currently over providing parking, even from our older standards and with our new standards. And so the request is to actually go from a 1.7 ratio, which is well beyond what we required at that other site, down to 1.2, I believe it is, or 1.1. And staff has reviewed the site. We also just did some drive-by surveys. We also have evidence from the petitioner. There's only there's 6 vehicles right now from occupants that are living there. So staff is not concerned at all about the parking. The special use permit is a good way of dealing with this type of use. We don't want to just outright say in the ordinance, you need to meet something, or you don't have to provide anything. So it allows for flexibility in the parking code, and so staff is in support of this. Based on our staff report and the numbers provided from the petitioner and the numbers that we have in our survey.
Applicant, which person wants to speak?
Uh,
You want
I could speak.
to, you want to give your name?
Yeah,
please?
I'm Stacy Kaiser-Willie. I'm the executive director for Vera French Housing. I don't know if you want to introduce.
Patrick Dennehy with Ask Studio, the project architect.
Okay, you want to present your?
Yeah, yep. So Vera French Manor, the plan that we are looking to put an addition on, currently there are 10 units in that building. And in the whole campus, there are 30 units total currently. So we'd be looking to add on 13. So right now with the whole campus, we call it, there are 50 parking spaces. And with the tenant population that we serve, we only have 6 tenants that have vehicles. Just affordability, many ride Riverbend Transit or take the Vera French bus to appointments and things like that. Just vehicles aren't affordable. And so we only have 6 tenants out of 30 currently that have vehicles. And so adding on 13, we don't feel that there would really be a need for additional parking.
She said it all, so.
Okay. Do I have any board members? Nothing? It seems like I'm asking all the
We're
questions.
really quiet
I
today.
know.
I don't know if you want me to, yeah, or what, but that's,
But I think
that's really in
you-
summary.
You feel comfortable with your documentation of this and that it's, you know, this is
Oh,
a
yeah.
solid pattern for you and obviously you've
Oh,
worked
yeah.
with staff already.
And I haven't brought up, but in our other code, we had a vehicle like this to allow us to relax the parking standards as a special exception. And in those cases, we would look at historical, parking rates for the type of use. A lot of times it was senior housing or something, and so there are certain populations out there that, or segments of the population out there that definitely have a lesser need for parking, and this would be
Right.
one of those.
And I've worked there for, I'll be 9 years next week. And this is, it's never grown, I mean, it's always stayed right around there. Actually, yeah, it's always been about 5 or 6 for the entire 9 years that I've been there, so.
Is this a population of special need adults?
Yep,
And,
so, everyone in Beer French housing has a diagnosed mental
Right.
illness. And we have properties across Davenport and Bettendorf. We have, Holiday Court in Bettendorf, and there are 13 units there in the same, we have 4, that's a little bit more. It's a little bit, maybe some younger folks, but 4 people out of 13 have vehicles there.
Okay.
And there's plenty of parking for staff and
Oh, yeah.
employees and things, so.
Mhm. And I took what we had done with the pictures, we went out 3 times a day, in the morning and afternoon and later on, late afternoon, and took pictures at all time, you know, all points of the day, so.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've been thoughtful in collecting your data.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions from anybody from the board? I see none. Is there anyone in the audience in favor? I see none. Opposed? I see none. Any final comments that you have?
No, we're just really appreciative because we know there's a need for affordable housing.
Right.
And, we're doing our best to build more affordable housing, and we haven't done it for quite a while, so, this is kind of a hurdle that we have to get across before we can submit our application to the state next week, so
Well,
we're really hopeful.
thanks for taking care of our special
Yeah,
needs.
you're welcome.
You know, that's, my wife says it every day, where, I have a son that's, special needs, and when you get older, and we're getting older, we're
Yeah.
looking for places, and we're
Yeah.
glad that you provide
Yeah.
a facility like this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for everything you do in this
Yeah.
community
Yeah.
to help people
Right.
with diagnosed mental health issues.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay, any further board discussion? See none. I ask for a motion.
I so move.
Second.
Roll call.
Strayhall,
Yes.
Cochran,
Yes.
Quinn,
Yes.
Layback.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Rystrom.
Yes.
Just
Okay.
change it to Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your request
Thank you
has
very
been
much.
granted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just blame it on Matt, because I said right away, let's make sure we know how to pronounce this, and he told me the wrong thing.
Well, I see no other business. I ask for a motion for adjournment. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, my wife will be back there.
Very excited.
Oh, gosh. What's your-
Moral support. Yeah.
Always 106 pounds.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, got
I
it.
never would have thought he was 40. He
Yeah.
was really, really young.
Okay.
Well, thanks for everybody being here.
Yeah, of course.
We're here.